Once a sketch is fully defined, there is a way to cause it to become over-defined. This usually happens when you add too many dimensions. For instance, if I edit this sketch once again and add another dimension, SOLIDWORKS will tell me right away that there is a problem. It tells me that this sketch is over-defined, and it gives me two options. I can either make this a driven dimension, or I can leave it as a driving dimension. First, I'll choose to make this a driven dimension. Notice that the dimension appears in a gray color. This differentiates it from driving dimensions like these. A driven dimension is just there as a reference to the geometry. It doesn't control the geometry. With a driving dimension, on the other hand, if I double-click it, its value can be changed and the geometry will update. If I double-click a gray driven dimension, SOLIDWORKS will tell me that it cannot be changed. So, what is the purpose of driven dimensions? Well, they can actually be very useful. For instance, I can put a dimension here to measure the diagonal distance of this rectangle. That way, when I make changes to the width or height, I can see the diagonal distance right away. So that's what you get when you decide to go with driven dimensions. The other option you have when you put in an over-defining dimension is to leave the dimension driving. This leaves you with a conflict and lots of red. Red geometry in SOLIDWORKS is not a good thing. The reason for the red is that there are two dimensions here, each trying to control the same thing. In order to get rid of the problem, I can simply delete one of the over-defining dimensions, and the red goes away. As you create sketches, there's one other color you might run across. In this example, you can see a simple sketch with some dimensions already added. Notice that the height is already set to 3 inches. If I put a dimension on this edge, and also make it 3 inches, I'm going to have a problem. SOLIDWORKS is telling me that by putting in this dimension, I'm causing invalid geometry. And it even hints that I might have a zero length line. If you look at this yellow line here, you can see that if this edge were allowed to become 3 inches, this line would have to shrink down to nothing. That's not allowed in SOLIDWORKS. Whenever you run across red sketches, or yellow ones, or any other sketch error for that matter, always remember that it was probably the very last thing you did that caused the problem. So the easiest way to get out of trouble is to use undo.